I feel like my head is about to explode.
We could hear that they shut down the missiles.
You don't call for regime change and do it unilaterally.
We now understand what it was about with Venezuela.
Now we don't know who we're dealing with in Iran.
Anthropic was down before. It kind of feels as a conspiracy. This is one of the most famous clubs in Berlin for the raves. So, hot or not?
Stop. Did you just doom scroll, watch a get ready with me video? Almost buy a jumper you don't actually need and pour wine like it is a survival skill. Same.
I'm Nina, tech evangelist, investor, serial social entrepreneur, nonprofit founder, and I'm absolutely obsessed with starting and running impact projects.
And I'm Maithreyi, storyteller, international journalist, a former TV anchor, media founder, and someone who's mildly obsessed with connecting politics, business, and the chaos all around us. This is your Sanity Break, where we're trying to make sense of an insane world just like you.
Welcome to our group chat.
Hey, Nina. This has been
Hello.
something of a week.
Yeah, that's a crazy week. I don't know. Before we were preparing for this podcast, my husband asked me what you and me gonna be talking today. Is there would be actually any joke because things that going in the world is very crazy and very dark.
It's dark indeed, and it's almost like there's a pressure because I feel like my head is about to explode with a migraine
Same.
because it's crazy, right? I think what are we going to talk about? To answer his question, we're going to talk about Iran, the US, Iran, the US, and a little bit about some algorithmic changes that are happening thanks to the Department of War in the US. So basically,
Yes.
everything is geopolitics now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I had exactly the same feeling. Even like, the pop and culture and science, there is no single tagline without connecting to the geopolitics.
I don't think there is. And it's interesting because you and I were talking about the fact that both of us were looking forward to the Easter holidays. We were going to both land up in Bali. That was like going to be the most awesome thing that we never planned it like that. But we were both going to be in Bali and we were going to hang out on the beach if we could. And now our flight path does not allow either of us, right? And we're not the only people, I don't think, with going, what the
Exactly.
hell?
What the hell? I saw the numbers. It's crazy. Maybe you actually have them, but like literally all the more majority of the airlines flights from the Europe to the Asia is now suspended and everyone is waiting for update. And our husbands, I know your husband did the same, was checking all these insurances, right? If we really could replan or get the money back. Looks like not really. But like, yeah, what the numbers actually matter? I think you shared with me a bit earlier.
Oh, I did. I mean, it's shocking, right? And this is basically coming down to the fact that force majeure, when war and natural disasters are not covered by travel insurance, how do you deal with them? How do you deal with the fact that I think there were 2,000 right at the start of this, because we're now a few days in. And by the time this podcast is released, it will be a few days later. At this point, at this juncture, when we started out of Asia, there were 2,210 or 20 delays and just 58 cancellations. And then that number just skyrocketed across about 11 Asian airports that really got affected. Those are the airports that have flight paths to Europe. And that's where we land into trouble because the flight paths will take you past the Middle East or above Ukraine and Belarus. So there's a very narrow window that you can take if you are a European airline. Where do you go at this point?
And you cannot pass Belarus, you cannot pass Ukraine, you cannot pass Russia. So basically, the way how the map right now look like, all the surround part and so on, and United Arabic Emirates is literally shut down. The sky is closed, right? And then everything on the top, whereas Russia, Ukraine, Belarus as well shut down. So you either should go through, with Chinese airlines through Russia. Actually, that is, I'm not sure it would be the safest option to go, or you need to fly through Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and this part. So, and it's very, very narrow corridor, and the prices is skyrocketing. I was checking today; it's like from 2,000 Europe and up just for one flight. So, anyway, this is very, very like dramatic development. development of the year. And from one side, I'm really sorry for all those people who stuck and they cannot get even to their homes. From another side, I was absolutely impressed by the reaction of United Arab Emirates, who literally provided everyone who stuck there with a free hotel and take care of their food at the hotel and so on. I mean, one of the most richest country, yet they're not obliged to do that. And that was something that popped up a lot in the internet in parallel with all these memes, about.
You didn't send me a meme. What is this
No,
meme?
that was one because I felt like I don't know, should I not like to really send it to you? But there was a lot of speculation in media that there was a evacuation started in Dubai, and actually I was checking with my friends if there is really evacuation. It's like they really already go to the parkings and sitting and working from there. And all my friends was like, no, 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 no. We could hear that they shut down the missiles, but we're not going. Like most of us not going to
Yeah,
pump
there
this
was a lot
material.
of disinformation going
Yeah,
around. Yeah.
exactly. They feel safe, and at the same time, they were sending me those memes showing like the whole Dubai escort is queuing the line to
With
go to
all
the
the escorts in
private.
Dubai.
Exactly, going to the private jet, and this is what is Dubai evacuation look like.
Is
Yeah,
that
so
what, a quarter of the population of Dubai then? No offense, Dubai. We do not mean it. We have to laugh when things are this ugly and bad. Oh my Lord.
exactly,
But you know what? It's
exactly.
it's actually quite sad because it's not just Dubai. It's Bahrain. You
Mm,
have Qatar, because I was
yeah,
supposed to fly through, or I am supposed to fly through Qatar in a few weeks. You have Oman. You have Kuwait. It's quite a disaster because a lot of these countries, I think, had an inclination to know that there might be something that might happen, but nobody was quite well prepared for it. And the very fact that in the first 2 days itself, friendly fire brought down 3 F-15s over Kuwait. And that was by
yeah.
the
So it,
Kuwaiti army not realizing they are American forces. And thankfully, the pilots were not hurt. But on the other side, you have to kind of wonder all the permutations and combinations they're doing to justify these actions as being legal. And I think
yeah.
that is where the punching bag is. People like you and I, Nina, we've been talking about this Iranian regime being
Mm-hmm.
violent, repressive, and against women's rights. But at the same time, being Ukrainian, you would understand this. There is something called international law. You don't call for regime change and do it unilaterally. Then how does that make us different in any
Yeah.
country than Russia, for example? So I think we'll be debating this ad
Debate.
nauseum.
I think it's the two coins, from another side, what I could see a lot in the Ukrainian as well media, that they believe that it's a good lesson to show to the world dictators that any regime could be put down. It started with Maduro, now Iran. And so to some people it gives hopes. But beside the hope, it gives a lot of problem with economy, right? And what we see right now with gas price increase over 50%. This is insane. Issue with oil, at least now we
Why
now
do you
we
think why
understand.
do you think my husband wants all the money back from the holiday? He's like desperate because
Exactly.
he's like, do you know what
Exactly.
our heating bills are
Bill.
going to be like? Oh my God.
Exactly. In the same time in Europe, what we observe right now this week, it's getting again to the cold weather, from some heat wave to the cold weather. I'm not sure if you had a heat wave in UK, but in Europe it was like kind of plus
16 degrees
18.
and sunny.
Yeah, and sunny. Yeah, and now it's again back to 5 degrees. So yeah, our bills would be insane. But as well, like there is a lot of changes with oil, right? That we should expect. Bad side of that Russian stock market is now booming positively because of all those issue. But from another side, we now understand what it was about with Venezuela.
So if you're a financial journalist and you're looking at this, the first thought is who's got the largest production capacity or largest capacity of oil in the OPEC countries? It is Venezuela. Because of sanctions, they haven't been able to produce as much as they like. Because of sanctions, they were not able to sell into the open market, and their biggest buyer was China. Do you remember that whole story of the Americans,
Mhm.
seizing the accounts and then seizing the oil, which was bound for China? Now you kind of realize why they did that, because hang on a minute, now you have OPEC, or OPEC's one oil producer that was
Mhm.
supplying a lot to China. You have the Strait of Hormuz, course, which is the pathway that the rest of the OPEC has to literally use to get the oil out. Currently, pretty much at a standstill, because who's going to risk an oil tanker getting blown up by the IRGC, which is basically the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. But why wouldn't they blow it up, and why wouldn't they attack? The question is, they can always claim that, and they do claim that they were attacked first, which is why they have reacted. They have lost their supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini. And at this point, I think what may be underestimated is just how aggressive the reaction can be of both the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the incumbents who still remain, who now we don't know who we're dealing with in Iran. We knew who we were dealing with before, but now if Donald Trump says he's killed off everybody who is going to be a successor, you may land up with a bigger problem of an unknown entity who may be far more radical, far more aggressive, and far more capable of damage, as you can see when you see the bombings into, the Gulf countries that technically did not participate, but they do have US bases on their land. It's a horrible mess to be in. You've got India suddenly, Nina.
Actually, that's what I wanted to ask. That was very interesting.
Very
weird and very interesting at the same time. Reaction of India and China. So let's talk about that too.
If you look at what China did for a long time was keep quiet. I mean, long time being 24 hours. They, along with Russia, really called the Security Council and, a meeting of the Security Council where they basically said this was illegal, et cetera, et cetera. And then they kept quiet. And then on Monday, they released a statement from the Foreign Ministry of China saying, we believe that this is illegal. We've said so. And the only way that we will solve this Middle East crisis and stop the world from going into an economic freefall, because remember, oil, gas, inflation, cost of living crisis, this affects everyone, not just one part of the world. It will affect the global south. It will affect Asia. It'll affect America. It will affect everybody. So the Chinese are playing grown up, which I found really interesting because they've been doing that a lot in the last year and a half. I thought that the Chinese were going to be the grown-ups.
Same. But from another side, we have really interesting reaction of India that we would not probably expect because of Palestine, but India literally said that they would support Israel, right? In this case specifically. What was the statement of Israeli leader?
The Indian leader. It was the Indian leader. He went to Israel on a flying visit just before all of this started. It was interesting timing because historically India has been very close to Iran, and that's where historically they've also got a lot of their oil. You also have this close relationship with Palestine over, since the Nakba in 1948. But in the last 10, 15 odd years, the government of India has moved closer and closer to Israel. This is the funniest thing that came out of the meeting. And I mean, you got to watch this video of Narendra Modi in Israel.
I had the good fortune to be the first Prime Minister of India to visit Israel. And I'm very happy to be here again, returning to a land to which I've always felt drawn. After all, I was born on the same day that India formally recognized Israel, September 17, 1950.
I don't know what his birthday had to do with supporting Israel, but I mean, Mr. Modi makes some interesting statements sometimes. But then he flew off to Canada and did a big Canadian deal. And that is the most interesting thing because India and Canada have had very cold relationships for the last couple of years. And Mark Carney was not the prime minister. It was Justin Trudeau that, Modi had a problem with. But Mr. Carney somehow has managed to impress both Beijing and New Delhi. So Mark Carney for the win.
But it makes a lot of sense for this deal right now because obviously it is a feeling, right, that the energy security is the most important that we could have along with overall world security. So yeah, this is definitely something to watch on further.
I think the one thing I can get out of this whole weekend and a couple of days into what feels like the start of a very, very ugly, long, protracted war, is that I think all of the alignments are changing, Nina. Where our investment opportunities are and our jobs.
And it jobs. And as well, it feels it's not just only like, war that happening on the land, but it's war everywhere, in media, in tech, in geopolitics. And as you said already, it feels like everything like connected to geopolitics right now. But like another topic that I do believe we need to discuss is what was happening with Anthropic and with Claude and with all the scandal around that Trump early this week, he made an announcement, right, that all the U.S. agency need to roll out from the usage of Anthropic because Anthropic as a company refused so their AI be used in the military operation. And at the same time, they gave this opportunity to the same Altman, the OpenAI. It was accepted. And to me, it felt so weird, like honestly.
I think it's more than weird. I think it's a very dangerous precedent when you turn around to if you're selling AI as the next big thing for any global economy or any economy to be a superpower, and you take a crown jewel in your crown and you threaten them, and they say, hey, we don't want to do that. And then you turn around and say, we're going to mark you down as a supply chain risk, essentially like, pushing them out of the market. That would make, people like NVIDIA have to pop out of their shareholding. It's very complicated, but essentially you're saying we'll attack one of our own if you don't do as we say. But that's also very strange because at this point, Anthropic's artificial intelligence is probably one of the best in the world. It's leading by far. And then what happens on a Monday is weird, if I can say that, Nina, because unlike you, I'm a relatively new adopter of AI. So I know I keep sending you messages going, am I using this thing right?
Yeah.
I have decided that Claude is like my BFF when you are very busy with your baby. And Claude went down today. And I felt like my heart was ripped open. And I was like, what happened?
Yeah, and it is very weird. It's weird that it's down. I mean, Anthropic was down before. I already had experienced that, but this time, because it happened right after that announcement, it kind of feels as a conspiracy. Yeah.
It's probably not. It's something probably quite simple, like the servers couldn't handle the load or whatever have you. But it was just the timing of that, that Donald Trump move. And then the Pete Hegseth announcement of, you're a supply chain risk and we're going to go with Sam Altman. It just feels very strange, especially after last week when you showed me that picture of all of them in the India AI Summit. Not holding hands.
Not holding hands.
Now
it's explained. Now it's explained, right? Why they didn't want to hold.
Who knows what they were
Who
thinking?
knows?
But it's weird. Geopolitics has now gone not into wars because we don't see boots on the ground in Iran, but people are dying. It's drone warfare. And what I found really interesting was that Ukrainian drone companies are being more and more used or talked about as providing the drones consultancies.
Consultancy. I saw it. It's a UK who made a statement, right, that they're going to use UK speciality and consultancy to help in this operation. And you know what? The media was wild about that news because Ukrainian, they were saying like, yeah, well, who would help us actually? It's amazing. We're very happy to share our expertise, right? Because we're going through the war for more than 4 years by now. But as well, how about you helping us?
It's just very weird. It's a very strange scenario where war zones are being used as testing grounds for technology development, which seems to be par for the course at this point. Palantir did it, and actually, I think Alex Karp was quite open about using Gaza as a training ground for the artificial intelligence that Palantir has developed. I think it's a similar story for Ukraine, like
intelligence. Palantir. We remember all this cover by Time, I believe, that was connecting Ukraine and Palantir and how they help with intelligence operations.
I think Palantir has been very open about it,
Yeah,
but I think it's just
yeah.
interesting to see how it's changing from boots on the ground kind of arguments for war to now drones in the air and drones attacking as far as XYZ kilometers. So life is changing,
Changing
but
a lot.
I think who's changing more, according to the internet, to the point of being unrecognizable and starting like a whole question mark, seems to be Jim Carrey. What is going on with Jim Carrey's
Wow.
face that everybody thinks that he wasn't at the Caesar Awards?
I know, but to be honest, I watch memes about that. To
Yeah.
me, he just aged. People aged, and that's normal. And I honestly, I didn't have even one thought that it wasn't him.
Ma langue est fatiguée. Je vous aime tous du fond du cœur. Merci.
Besides the fact that people were speculating that he prepared all this French speech and was able to speak French, so what, right? People could speak many languages, and that he didn't look like him. To be honest, he looked to me like him. He just looked like, many, many years older than we originally supposed to, to see him or to pursue him. I don't know. I mean, what was your take? Did you really think that it wasn't him there?
I just didn't understand what the fuss was about. I'm like, I don't look like I did when I was 25. I mean, people change.
Exactly. You look better, and I look better too,
Oh, you're so sweet for saying, but you definitely look better. I think it was just very strange. And then I was like, why is this particular drag queen claiming to have been him? And I was like, is this what started it? Some random person decides to show a picture of The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know what this person, I think this person just decided to have some fun with it. And then it got very serious. And then now it's just become like, Jim Carrey was not really at the Caesar Awards, and it wasn't him. People like conspiracy theories to, I think, feel better about a crazy world that they live in. Hey ho, it didn't hurt anybody. Jim got his award.
Exactly. But there is another one award ceremony that I wanted to talk with you about, because to me it's as well, from one side, felt a bit strange because it was a lot interconnected again to geopolitics. From another side, it looks very interesting because there was fantastic performance of some very unique artists. And this is Brit's award that was happening in the UK.
Man, you keep track of things that are happening in my country that I don't keep track of. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. Yeah, I don't understand the whole thing. So the only reason I paid attention to it in a week that's been dominated by, understandably in my business, Iran, was the fact that I've never seen the channel that broadcasted ITV bleep out so many political statements. And it's historically, it used to be run by a woman who was amazing. She recently quit and moved jobs. And ITV used to be quite out there with allowing people their freedom of speech. And I think they made the news here for literally removing all political statements. But by bleeping everything out, you end up making more of a political statement, I think, because it's kind of obvious. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. I don't understand it.
I think it's a perfect time to move to hot or not. And I do have one for you. Continue talking about the Brits. Actually, the good side, there was amazing performance of artist called La Rosalia, who performed, who performed in a very interesting way in combining opera singing style with a rave on the stage, one of the biggest rave on the stage, with a song called Berghain. So, and this is one of the most famous club in Berlin for the raves. So, hot or not? Did you see it, by the way?
Totally hot. Let's play the video. Let's play the video. I mean, it takes me back to my youth, clubbing, a little bit of rave. I guess bed rotting is no longer in fashion for Gen Z. So, yay, welcome to real life, people.
Well, they could comment if it's a yes or not, right? So please leave your comment. What is your preference? Being within the normal life or bed rotting?
Oh, yeah. We also want to know, did you think her performance was hot? So leave a comment. Got one for you, also from the Brits, a little bit more serious. A bit like the Jim Carrey story. Ozzy Osbourne won the Lifetime Achievement Award, and his wife and his daughter went up on stage to get it. So Kelly Osbourne is the daughter. She basically, instead of people celebrating Ozzy's life and work, basically the trolls went after her for the way she looked. She was too skinny. There was something wrong with her body. And then they basically, I think some of them even went as far as saying, get off the Ozempic. And her reaction was posted on her Instagram. We'll pull that up for you. It's a bit touching and it's a bit relatable. So the question for you is this hot or not?
Completely not. And to be very honest, I'm hating this public shaming that we currently see everywhere. Same happened with Selena Gomez with her pictures on the beach where the people are saying that she lost too much muscles because she's probably on Ozempic. So people, stop shaming women, okay? Too skinny, too tall, too something. I mean, just stop doing this.
Too fat, too skinny, too everything. I mean, use Ozempic, don't use Ozempic. I mean, at some point, it's none of your business what people do with their bodies. And for example, I mean, how many of them don't remember that Selena Gomez almost died and she has lupus? For heaven's sake. I mean, just leave these women alone. Let them go through what they're going through. If you can't be supportive, just shut up. What's the next one?
The next one is actually from geopolitics part that I found quite funny and unexpected. It's about German Chancellor Merz, who was trolling a bit Trump at one of his meetings with CDU, so the party of Germany, where he was sharing the phone call with Trump and really trying to copy his voice. I mean, you need to watch this video. Just take a look.
Im letzten oder vorletzten Telefonat mit Donald Trump habe ich ihm diese Zahl genannt. Ich habe ihm gesagt, wir haben das um 60% reduziert. What did you say? 60%? Ja, ich sage, Herr Präsident, 60% haben wir die Zahlen runtergebracht. I don't believe it. Ja, ich bin am Montag wieder bei ihm und werde es ihm nochmal mit Grafiken zeigen. Also Sie sehen...
So, hot or not?
I'd say that I never expected Merz to do it because I am a keen and avid follower of the German foreign ministry. That is the perfect account for trolling governments. And they have had a sense of humor for a long time since the previous minister, the foreign minister of Germany. So they have a bloody good sense of humor. I never thought Merz would get that, but okay, hot. I like it. Here's one for you. Okay, so Merz has a sense of humor. That's good to know. But you have, along with people wanting to go to raves again and do in-person stuff, you've got a lot of nostalgia that's creeping into people wanting to own or feel like they're back in the past. So you've got Pandora the jewelry company has now got a Bridgerton collection. So you can buy stuff from the Bridgerton collection. And Lego has a 1950s Cadillac collection, which is kind of cool. It looks like everybody's wanting a blast from the past in their life. I mean, I think they've all forgotten the 20th century was not very nice. We had 2 world wars in it.
And a lot of sickness and other things. But still, I think that particular part is hot because, first of all, I just finished to watch the Bridgertons. And I like it. I already waiting for the season 5, you know. So, and the second one, I'm really obsessed with Lego. So Lego is one of my favorite company, and if they did this Cadillac things, I definitely will buy it for my husband.
Okay, so hot for you. I get it. So everyone, tell us whether you think this trend of this blast for the past and nostalgia is hot or not, and whether you are longing for the past. It might not be better times. You might want to go read a history book, but just in case, let us know.
And I have another one for you. And
go on.
This is one of the biggest trend, in my opinion. Right now, with all this AI development, is a vibe coding, right? And so what is this about? It's about that everyone now could do the code with such tool like anti-gravity, for example, from Google, and could create their own prototype. Even my grandma could do that. So for me, it's totally hot. What about you? Hot or not?
I think it's totally hot if it helps helps people do a better job of whatever it is that they're doing, and that, there are no mistakes along the way, but it's still fun. It's always fun to learn something new. And if grandma can do it, I'm going to give it a shot. I want to go back to geopolitics because, I live and breathe this stuff, just like you. India. I'm going to bring it back to India and Canada. Remember, I mentioned Mr. Modi went to Canada. They've now signed an India-Canada deal, going back to your whole point about energy security being the only currency. They've signed a deal where basically they've made uranium the new gold. And considering gold prices right now, bada bing, hot or not?
Hot. 100% hot. Completely agree. Uranium is a new gold, and the energy security is the most important topic. And it's a great question, and especially it's a great question for our listeners. So please drop your comments if you really agree that uranium is a new gold and energy security is one of the biggest priority. All right, squad. Your turn to tell us what you thought was hot or not. Drop a comment wherever you are listening. Maybe next time you will officially to join our group chat.
Catch you on your next Sanity Break here with us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, pretty much anywhere that you take a little break. Don't be shy, we'll be listening.